Join us, MrTruck.com, for truck reviews, trailer reviews, and accessory reviews. There you go. Okay, just a little more. Okay, right there, that's good. Mr. Truck here with a new project truck. This is just too cool. I've been waiting to get them all three back, all three, the big three Detroit trucks. And now I've got them. This is my last one. I've always wanted these Dakotas. They're quite an interesting truck. They were out 25 years. But you know, they didn't just go extinct overnight because they had big problems. They had small problems. But at the same time, when Ford got out of the mid-size, the mini trucks, and so did GM, and then so did Ram. And you know, the Dakota, the Dodges, these came out. They also had the D50, that Mitsubishi part, and it was made in the same factory that these were. Now this one is a 94. It's my favorite grill. And they're quite the truck. When these came out, oh gosh, probably 87, 88, they actually outsold every Dodge truck and van that year. And of course that was, you know, before that was at the very end of the 80s. And Ram had to do some big changes and made the big rig unit, came out second generation in 1994, same year this one was. And that one increased their sales on the full size by 300%. So it was a big time for Chrysler. They just gotten through almost going bankrupt. They got bailed out by the government and were recovering, and they recovered really well. They got a lot of numbers out. They made 3 generations. This was the first generation, and they had different grills, I think back like 1990 and older. My nephew had one of those, and Greg, and I was always amazed by the tailgate on that thing. It took a knee and 2 hands to lift the tailgate. It was that heavy. I mean, you could drive post holes in the ground with it. But now this one doesn't have that heavy tailgate. But this one, it's got a 318. It's got like 168,000 miles. 4-wheel drive, and this is the SLT, the loaded model. It's got that cool fake wood grain. I usually don't like fake things, but I like the way this grill looks, and we'll show you all that. And this one too, 6-bolt wheels. I mean, a lot of the half-ton full-size didn't have that size of tire. They didn't have 6-bolt, they had 5-bolt. Even the Ram 1500 back then, or the Dodge, it only had 5-bolt. So this was way ahead of its time. But it was a mid-size, the first mid-size, and it, you know, I think the top year was 1991. And that's when they had, I've got it in there somewhere, yeah, well in 2000 they sold 177,000, which seems weird. 2011, last year they were down to 12,000. So they went from a high of 177 down to 12,000 units. So it was like everybody else in that mid-size class was dropping off. But this one was so much bigger. I mean, this rascal here, this is a club cab with a 6.5-foot bed. Now the GMC, I've got a, you know, I bought a GMC this year. It's a 96, 454, 3/4 ton heavy duty, same length as this. It has a 6.5-foot bed. It fits the trailer the same. Very little difference in them. This might be just a hair bit shorter. And they also, on this Dakota, in a regular cab, they had an 8-foot bed. So that was part of the problem. They were so close to the size of a full size. You know, their idea of the mini truck, the mid-size, was that D50, which went against the Ranger, went against the S10, and later on the Canyon, the Colorado, and of course Toyota, Nissan. And that was a big market. And now it is again. They got the 5 back in that same market. But now it's the Gladiator and not the Ram trucks. But this rascal, you know, I'll show you the back seat in this. This is a club cab. It's got a bench with 3 seat belts. You can put 3 kids back there. Everybody else put these little side doors. Will put seats in the corners. So they had to fold them down, and that wasn't a very safe seat. Much better seats in this one. This has got seat belts for 5. I could have 6 if I had a bench in the front, but I've got buckets in this SLT model. But these rascals, This puts out like 225 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, and it's 318. 318 is what I had in Dodgezilla, my 94 1500 that we had the 4-inch lift, 3-inch body lift, just like my GMC. I've got a new lifted truck we're rebuilding too, the 96 GMC. But it's got torsion front suspension, it's leafs on the back, and a lot of the leafs and rear axles the same thing as a 1500. I use a lot of the components off the 1500 to build this. But it is a midsize, which means it fits into a parking lot a little bit at Walmart. But the thing too was back when these were so close to the size of a full size, they also were almost the same price. I never understood that back then when I was looking at them, how these would be so priced. Like this one here is over $20,000 back in 1994. So they priced them a little too high for the market. So all those things kind of got rid of it. But to me, the number one problem with these has always been the automatic transmission. Now I know you Ram guys love your automatic transmissions. I have not figured out why, because they need work. And it, it kind of spills the beans that Ram understands it, because the heavy duty, high output Cummins in a 3500 Ram uses an Aisin automatic, which is owned by Toyota. So why didn't they build that transmission? And the TRX even has that ZF German transmission, the 8-speed, that's in all their 8 speeds. So they have other people building their transmissions. So, I guess they understand that there's been some problems, but that's not how you fix it. Like my 94 1500 Dodgezilla, I had Ruben of Colorado Transmission in Greeley rebuild it, and he overkilled it. I mean, he drilled out the valve body for better line pressure. He took out the aluminum planetaries. Why would you use aluminum planetary? He took those out, put steel planetaries, put in more clutches in the clutch packs. He did all that. Man, that thing was a bulletproof transmission. We called it overkill. We're going to do that to this now, because of course the transmission's bad on this. Go to Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace and you look up Dakotas and Durangos. I mean, if they either have a bad transmission listed on it, or they just had a transmission replaced, because that's what they are. In the 90s and the 80s, that's what you got from the, and everybody knows that. It's not like it's a secret. But anyway, I mean, Ram could have taken and rebuilt these just like Ruben did and had great transmissions, but they chose not to. So now they're getting better in their transmission size because they're having other people help build them. And that's what you get from these. But I'll show you a lot of pictures on this, because I get a kick out of these. These are hard to find in really good condition. This is 27 years old and very little rust. It's got normal frame rust, but it's actually the interior's in great shape. Everything's pretty good shape on it. But this is my first generation. And this one here, my cousin Chuck has had two of them. He's driving one now. It's, I think, a 2011 four-wheel drive. So I'm starting to know a lot of people that have these. But this is fuel injected. This is, it's got everything I want. And it's a loaded SLT, so you got the air, you got the cruise, you got the tilt. Same steering wheel, it's in the 1500. And I really want to find one of these in a convertible. They made them for like 2 or 3 years, but they didn't make very many. But just for fun of it, I'd love to have one of these Dakotas in a convertible. But this, it had a lot of good years. People loved these trucks. If they got past the price and got past some of the other things, they were really good. And that's the story of these guys. And because of the way they built them, using a lot of 1500 parts, they could have sold them cheaper, because the cost to build one of these was so much cheaper. So all that. If you know what I paid for this, it was $500. That's why I went to Utah to get it, because I loved it. $500. Now I'll put $1,000 in transmission. I'll have a darn good truck for $1,500, and that's getting harder and harder to do right now. So I'm going to show you Ruben's information at the bottom here. It's Colorado Transmissions. He's in Greeley. But this has got so many things I like in a truck, and it's a good looking truck. I love this grill. It's got all the rubber on the side. It's got everything you want, and the independent front suspension is really good. I'm going to see if Ruben can't lift it with those torsion rods. We'll see if we can crank them up. But I'd like to put bigger tires on it. 6-bolt. I mean, this thing was way ahead of its time. So, come with me. I'll show you the engine.
Don't go away, Mr. Truck.tv. We'll be right back.
Well, this is the 318. It's got a regular air filter on it. It's got air. Look at this. The alternators up here for water fording. That's a new thing. Everybody's put their air alternators up high so you can go water fording. Like I'm going to go water fording. Anyway, there's your computer, your CPU unit. Pretty well easy to get to. I like to put headers on it. But that's the 318, same one I had in Dodge Zella. And you know, you got ABS brakes. I think this was the first year they did the airbag. And I think it's one of their higher tech ABS for the brakes on it. But it's pretty simple to work on, pretty simple to get to. It's got all the canisters, the cruise, the air conditioning. We'll just have to see what she needs, and I haven't seen it leaking any oil. So I'm tickled about that. The engine purrs like a kitten. Real, it's just right. I gotta do some, I'm gonna replace the headlight bezel on this side because some of the plastic's peeling, but this has got one good looking nose. And I gotta do a windshield on it. Okay, yeah, it's got 166,000 miles. Now this wood grain dash, I like it. I mean, it's fake, so I usually don't like fake things, but this one looks so cool. It's better than all the other fake ones. And you got cup holders. This is in the early years when we only had one size of cup, but that's how that goes. Look at this, no cracks in the dash. And look at the upholstery. This is whatever, Voller, whatever it is. Both seats are just perfect in here. In the four-wheel drive is a lever, which I like. A lot of these have gone to push button. And it's got tilt wheel. Isn't that cool? This is the same steering wheel that was in the Ram 1500. A nice dash layout. It's got the overdrive shut off. That was a big thing that Dodge was doing, Ram was doing. In those days, it's got infinity speakers, man. This is, and then, you know, so I got to get a radio for it because I can see where I have the electricity and I have the antenna. But I like this puppy. And I've even got a 12 volts. I've always got to have 12 volt. I got to play with the air conditioning, see what that needs. It's got power mirrors. I call these space shuttle mirrors. Got that. So now, let's see if I can, is there a lever on there? I'm going to show you the back seat. And it slides forward. Now, look back here. 3 seat belts. And they're, you know, I mean, for even teenagers can fit in here. And it's got pads. None of that stupid little jumper seat fold up in the corner. Because these didn't have that. They had a real seat. And I like that. I think they fold up too. So you put, oh, it's got a hidden compartment. Maybe there's gold down in here. I'll have to look at that later, not on camera. But that is too cool. And those back windows pop open. It's got a slider on the back end of it. But this is good. I like this truck. I'm going to get it zipped up, but I'll be driving all over town with this. Now, let me show you the tailgate. This bed, actually, it's 27 years old. It's just got a few scratches in it. You can see a little bit of rust on top of the fender well, but this has got a post in it. Not like all the old Dodges had posts on the corner, back corner. This one's all got the layouts for adding 2x4s and double stacking and everything, but it's in good shape. I mean, it's green, but I do have some rust. You can see some rust right there on the bumper. Probably have to replace the bumper, get it ready to tow a few things. One place I've read this will tow 6,500 pounds. One place I've read tows 5,000 pounds. So I gotta see if I got a 392 or what axle ratio I have in this. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's a 410. Nobody knows. But anyway, my new project truck, my 4x4 Dakota, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to get this into Ruben so he can start rebuilding the transmission. One more project. So I'm done getting trucks now. I've got all the brands that I need. And now I'm going to start having fun with them. So me and Ruben will be in there filming all the stuff he's doing. Because right now, I'm going in there in a couple days, putting new bumpers on the Ford. Yes, indeed, my bumpers finally came in, so we're going to put a front and rear bumper on that, and we'll do that video next. So I hope you enjoyed this, and maybe you learned a few more things about the Dakota.
42 RE. And then we'll see how we could update the overdrive clutches on it. Because I think it might have 6 overdrive brake, and it might have 4. So I think if we just do like the diesel, get that plate off,
Change it
and
so
just
that
have 5.5.
oh.
And then on the overdrive.
Mr. Trek here with another exciting trailer accessory review. This one's for your gooseneck trailer. It's from Gen Y Hitches. It's called the Cushion Surge Coupler. Torsion Flex. So it's kind of like a torsion axle on a horse trailer. And that, inside here are those torsions. And so as this thing flexes, those will move up and down. Gen Y hitches. All you have to do is look at them. They're built like a bulldozer. It's all heavy-duty plate metal. Make them adjustable hitches, pencil hitches, shock-absorbing hitches with torsion, like a torsion axle on a horse trailer. These things will last you forever. You cannot find a better built adjustable hitch.